What's going on, everyone? Aseel Soueid here from Diabetic Aesthetics. For today's video, I'll be talking all about the top 10 mistakes that I personally made in the gym and pretty much what not to do and what to do when it comes to your training and things that I wish people told me years ago so I didn't have to make these mistakes myself. So that's exactly what I'll be talking all about. Let's get the video started. What's going on, guys? So this is pretty much going to be a very informative and helpful video that I've been wanting to do for a very long time now, but I just kind of forgot because I've had so much going on in my life lately, and it's kind of just like a video you push back because you kind of forget the mistakes you've made over the time, and you forget that this kind of information can really help a lot of people out there, especially people who are doing those mistakes right now, which I can assure you there's so many people doing at least one of these 10 things that I'll be describing, the mistakes that I personally made myself. So if I could just help one person, that's the aim for this video. That's the goal. So that's exactly what I'm gonna discuss, pretty much 10 lessons and 10 mistakes that I've done in the past so you don't have to make that yourselves, and what to do and what not to do when it comes to your training and nutrition. So hopefully this is gonna help a ton of you out there. So anyways, let's go ahead and start with number one, which is to focus on form and don't ego lift. So I don't know about you guys, but just looking back at this, I remember I used to always do like half reps when it comes to squats, when I'd even do squats or do legs in general when I first started training. And then when it came to the bench press, I just bounced it off my chest all the time, and pretty much the gym was always just a competition between me and my buddies to see who can lift the most weight, and pretty much ego lifting would just always be present to when I was lifting. It just like was a thing. You have to be lifting as much weight as possible. Who cares about the form? Just get it out there and just kind of show off in front of all your buddies. But that's the last thing you want to do, guys. You want to make sure you stick to very, very good form, learn proper form, watch a ton of freaking videos on every single movement, you know, whether it be a compound movement, accessory movement. Watch credited videos on exactly how to do that form. And every time you're in the gym, forget about the weight. Use a weight that's pretty light, a weight you can handle for a certain rep range you're aiming to hit, and make sure you're perfecting the form with that certain movement. It's gonna take you a long way. And it might take some time, because for me, the number one problem that I've had was that I never kept consistent form with essentially almost every movement, because every time I went to the gym, my form would be different with my squat, you know, or my bench press. The way I was just overall performing the movement wasn't right, and it was different every single time. So you want to really focus in. It really helps with that like mind-muscle connection. It just overall improves your gains in the gym. So make sure you focus on perfecting the form those first like 6 months of lifting. That should be your main priority before always focusing on constantly putting on more weight to the bars. Pretty much one of my biggest mistakes ever that really set me back for a long time. Now, number two is going to be learning about proper nutrition. So I remember back then, I would always base my results on whether or not like I ate clean, right? If for the majority of the day or the entire day, I ate like 3 good, clean, healthy bro meals, right? Some like chicken, rice, and broccoli, and I didn't eat any carbs past 6 p.m. or something like that, then that was a successful day. I officially made gains that day, right? And if one day maybe I ate out at a restaurant with my friends or ate something that wasn't quote unquote clean, my gains were ruined. That day was a waste, and then it would lead on to just like worse problems, maybe like binging for that day, or just kind of like being off track for an entire week and then saying, okay, I'll start on Monday. And it just led down a very, very dark path that I feel like most people are on. So understand proper macronutrition, understand macros, counting your macros, understand the importance of knowing your caloric intake to get to a certain goal. So as soon as I learned proper macronutrition, you know, learned how to count my macros, learned how to use my FitnessPal, the app to track your macros, learned the best macro distribution for my own body, and pretty much essentially learned what a calorie comprised of, which was, you know, carbs, fat, and protein. Learn how much calories were in each one of those and how much, you know, was great for me personally to get to my goals. Then it just it was never a guess game anymore. It was always like, okay, I know I'm getting results as long as I'm hitting these numbers. And it also improved my relationship with food. I didn't feel bad when I went out as long as I was hitting my macros. I didn't feel bad eating foods I enjoyed. And overall, the whole diet portion of this lifestyle was just sustainable and doable every single day. It wasn't, you know, some kind of dreadful thing I did for 2-3 days straight, and then I'll just totally screw up and just be back at square one on the 4th day. And it was just a bad bad dark path to be on. So number 3 is going to be a pretty big one that I think most people struggle with, especially beginners, but that is thinking that supplements are the key to results. So when it comes to people commenting on my YouTube channel or even on my Instagram, follow me on Instagram if you've not, diabetic.aesthetics, hashtag shameless plug. No, in all seriousness, like the DMs I get, comments on my pictures, or emails, even emails, people always ask me, bro, what kind of whey protein are you taking? Are you on creatine? Like, I just hopped on protein. Do you think I'm gonna be able to get these results that you get? Or like, am I gonna look like you? That could be the furthest thing from the truth, guys. Supplements essentially really don't have that big of a use. You're not gonna see any physical changes from supplements. You have to realize that the supplement industry is only out there to market a product to get you to buy it. And they do a really, really good job at doing that by, convincing you that's gonna get you results, and get you that body you've always wanted, when it's essentially not gonna do much at all, guys. It's literally just, they're trying to make money out of you, especially beginners out there. You are a huge part of their target market because you don't know any better. And I didn't know any better as well. I ordered so many supplements, just spent hundreds of dollars on supplements that I did not need because I saw my favorite fitness models in the magazines advertising them, thinking like, oh, that's how they got the results, taking this sort of supplement. But that couldn't be the furthest thing from the truth, guys. Essentially, the only supplements I even personally think that are even worth your money, right? Worth that value you're paying for every single dollar is creatine monohydrate, whey protein, and I guess I would say pre-workout, but that's very optional. And then also just multivitamins and fish oils, just for micronutrient health. But that's essentially it, guys. Everything else, in my opinion, is complete bullshit. You really don't need it. It's just the industry's trying to sell you something that you don't need. It's like any other market. There's a lot of wants and needs out there, but do you really need a lot of things that you have? No. And that's essentially the same thing. You don't need every single supplement marketed to you by your favorite fitness YouTuber or fitness model on Instagram. So don't buy into that, and understand that supplements are all about conveniency. These 4 supplements that I talked about aren't even something that you need. It just makes your life a little bit more convenient. So if you're somebody who struggles to get their protein intake for the day, their protein goal intake for the day, then get some whey protein, something high in protein, low in carbs, low in fat, accredited brand, and have a scoop or 2 a day just to make it easier and more convenient for you to get to that goal, so you don't have to cook chicken and cook meat all the time. So just get what's adding a lot of convenience to your life. That way you're getting the value that you deserve for the amount you're paying for when it comes to supplements. Now, the next mistake I want to talk about that I'm sure so many people have done in the past, including myself, is to not bulk too hard. So when I got into that bulking mindset, I would pretty much get into the mindset where I'd have to gain as much weight as possible, and I thought all this added weight was going to be muscle, but that's not the case, guys. When it comes to bulking, you want to be patient with it. You want to take it slow. At the end of the day, bulking isn't much different than really just maintaining your weight. You just want to be at a tiny surplus, so you're just eating a little bit extra what your body's burning when it comes to your caloric intake, which really is not that much. So you still want to monitor your calories, your caloric intake. You want to make sure that you're not in too big of a surplus. Otherwise, you're going to gain weight too fast, and all of that weight you're gaining that you might think is good, it's all muscle, couldn't be furthest thing from the truth. It's gonna be mostly body fat, because imagine how hard it is for your body to create lean muscle mass, guys. It's a very tough process. You're essentially creating something that's not even there in the first place. All that weight you gain that fast, it can't all be lean muscle mass magically. It takes time. It's a long process. I get so many people coming up to me like, yeah man, I've been on my grind, I've been killing it the past 2 weeks, I already gained like 10 pounds. But that's not a good thing. I'm not too sure why people brag about that. So understand that you don't want to bulk too hard. You want to take it slow, be patient with it, stay consistent, and don't be on too big of a surplus. So that leads me to my next point, which is don't increase your caloric intake too fast. So you shouldn't be looking at your weight gain all the time to justify whether or not you should increase your caloric intake. Don't always just be looking at the weight scale and seeing whether it's going up by a pound or 2 every single week. And if you're not gaining any weight, then you're not building any lean muscle mass. So you have to keep increasing your calories in order to keep gaining weight. Otherwise, you're gonna gain weight too fast. It's all gonna be body fat. I'm telling you, the way you should justify caloric increases in your diet to get more results is purely based on performance. In my opinion, you want to ask yourself, am I gaining strength in the gym? Look back at your past few workouts. If you've been plateaued with your strength the past 2 weeks and you haven't been constantly progressing, then you should increase your caloric intake by maybe only 200 calories or so, maybe like 2 pieces of fruit, some extra rice cakes, increase your carbs a little bit. You should still be monitoring your caloric intake, and at the same time, you don't want to make that big jump as well. You don't want to just have an extra huge meal, right? It's only a tiny caloric increase in calories, and justify that increase on your performance, not just the scale. Now, the next point is to don't cut too hard and too fast. So I've done this in the past before, guys, when I would feel like I'm getting a little too fluffy, I need to start cutting and I hop on a cutting stage. I just take it way too extreme, and when I would lose weight too fast, I'd essentially just slash out all of my carbs and then all of my fats, right? So I'd just be eating very high in protein. And think about it, when you cut 2 out of 3 macronutrients, 2/3 of your calories are gone for the day. So I was only consuming around like 1,200 calories at most. I was training my ass off in the gym, training very hard, doing a ton of cardio that wasn't needed, and my weight was going down so fast, and that wasn't a good thing. For me, I thought it was great. I was losing body fat, but essentially I was losing muscle mass. And you don't want to waste all that hard work and effort you put in to build that muscle mass. Because like I said, guys, it's common sense. It's a lot easier to lose body fat than build lean muscle mass. Because when you're losing body fat, you're taking something away from your body that's already there. But when you're building lean muscle mass, like I said, you're creating something that's not even in your body in the first place. So it's just a lot harder to do that. You don't want to waste your bulk. So keep it slow, keep it steady, keep it consistent. Don't lose more than 1 to 2 pounds a week, or at least that's what I recommend. Only keep your caloric deficit around 500 calories at most, and make small adjustments. Don't hop right into a huge deficit, and stay patient with it, man. Don't rush the process when it comes to bulking and to cutting. Now, the next point is not bulking for long enough. So this is a huge mistake that I see so many people doing, and that I've personally made myself, that probably, or I'd say most definitely set me back the most out of all these 10 things. I would bulk for maybe around 2 to 3 months, then immediately hop into a cut for like a month, and then I would think I'm way too small, and hop back into a bulk, get a little too fat, and the cycle goes on and on and on. Essentially, I was take 1 step up, 2 steps back, 1 step up, 2 steps back. So essentially, it was just a very bad path to be led on. But we all do that, and I think that's the #1 mistake everyone does. Bulk too hard, they don't bulk for long enough. So when you keep a proper bulk and do it right, you should, in my opinion, be bulking for at least 12 to 14 months before you even think about cutting, or at least to make a considerable transformation or any noticeable changes in your body when it comes to building muscle and just changing the way you look. Because at the end of the day, it takes a long time, guys. That's something that you cannot avoid. And don't fall into the trap of just seasonal bulking. So bulking in the winter time and during the fall. And then once it's summer, or for the next like 6 months when it starts getting warm out, you need to just be cutting and constantly be losing body fat. Sometimes you have to set aside the shreds for the summer, get off that aesthetics or that being shredded mentality, being as lean as possible, and take a good 1, even 2 years to just focus on building, and building upon yourself, building lean muscle mass. Like I said, taking it slow and patient. You're going to be getting results in a gaining phase, not just constantly in a cutting phase. So just remember that one thing. It's very important. So this leads me to my next point, which is cutting too soon. So nowadays, with the internet and social media in the palm of our hands, it's very easy to just look at our favorite fitness models, or like fitness YouTubers or Instagram pages, whatever it may be, or your idols, someone you look up to, someone you want to look like, and be like, I want to look like that. And then you immediately think that you need to just lose body fat and go on a big cut, and you're gonna look like that. That's the furthest thing from the truth, guys. You don't see the amount of times or the amount of bulking and cutting cycles these people have been through to get to where they are today. Remember, these people have trained for years and years, guys. It's not like they went on one big cut and then they just look like that. They've been through years and years of bulking to build that muscle. You have to remember that. And I think so many people forget that. So don't just, look at your favorite physique model and then think you're gonna look like that if you just cut for 1 year. So always remember that, man. Don't cut too soon. Stick to that bulk. Commit yourself for that long bulk, and you're gonna thank yourself for it. Trust me, I did that myself, and I completely transformed my body. I know a lot of OG subs out there can vouch for me on that. So this next upcoming point is gonna be something that I think is very misleading to most people getting into fitness and sticking to this kind of lifestyle and being consistent with it and not falling off the train and giving up. But that's gonna be to not dedicate yourself to this lifestyle to look like somebody you see on social media or on YouTube or on your favorite fitness magazine. That should never be the case, guys. You should get into this lifestyle solely to want to improve upon yourself, and 100% just because you want to do it. Don't do it because you want to look like a certain person. Don't do it because somebody else told you to do it, or don't do it for the girls, you know, whatever it may be. Do it because you ultimately want to do it, and you want to ultimately improve upon yourself and just become better, you know, become a more fit, healthy, better looking individual because you want to do it yourself. So overall, man, just stay true to yourself about this, because at the end of the day, it's you versus you. You know, it's just becoming about the best version of yourself. I know that sounds cheesy and corny, but this sport should honestly be a selfish sport. It should be just improving upon yourself, and that's it. Now, the next upcoming point, and the last and final point, I think is the biggest mistake that I personally made myself, and that's to not follow the advice and techniques of steroid users. So this industry, unfortunately, is full of people who are not natural, yet they do claim they're natural just because legal reasons, and you know, certain companies are affiliated with, and overall not to give themselves a bad image to the public. So you can't blame them. However, unfortunately, it misleads a lot of people. Back then, when I first started my fitness journey on weightlifting, proper nutrition, I would look at the biggest, most shredded dude on Instagram and just try to find his workouts online and then just follow those. And if I wasn't seeing the results I wanted to see, I clearly was not looking like them, and I gave it a lot of time. And believe me when I say I worked my ass off, and I truly did work really hard on those certain routines and workouts, but I would always stall. I wouldn't see any progress. So my best advice is to follow natural, credited people. You know, when it comes to research on proper training and nutrition, follow their research, study scientific based research on training and nutrition, and just really do your best to grasp all that information out there on the internet, because nowadays there is a ton of useful information when it comes to training and eating as a natural, doing it the proper way. So make sure you do that, guys. Don't just follow your favorite Olympian athlete on what they're doing when it comes to training and nutrition. It's going to be completely different for a natural like yourself, which I'm sure most of you who are watching this are natural. But yeah, follow people who are succeeding at doing this naturally, and people who, you know, promote doing this as a sustainable and science-based approach when it comes to training and nutrition. You're gonna find the best results doing it that way, I guarantee it. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up the video. I really hope you all enjoyed this one. I know it's a little bit different. It's not like a vlog or any kind of special editing or anything like that. It's simply just sitting down with the camera, sharing something that I think is gonna be very useful and helpful to a lot of people. This is a video that I truly wish that I saw way back then when I first started, especially the first 2 years of getting into this journey. It would have saved me years and years of work, and I honestly would have been so much further ahead if I took this advice and saw someone spreading this kind of information. So hopefully you all enjoyed it, and hopefully it showed you all what and what not to do, and I hope it helped out, man. If it did, please subscribe, please give the video a like, share it with a friend, somebody who might be doing one of these things. I'm sure there's so many out there doing at least one of 10. I sure was. I was doing all 10, so hopefully it helped you out if you were even doing any of those. And let me know, what is your biggest mistake when it comes to training or nutrition? Even something funny, you know, something stupid. I used to do some ridiculous stuff because I thought it was gonna get me better results, or, you know, things I heard on the internet that I need to do. So let me know, and I'll get a good laugh at it. Maybe I'll mention it in a future vlog. So I hope you all enjoyed this one. Give it a share, give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe to my channel. Got a lot of cool content coming, especially this week. Don't want to miss out on it. I'll see you in the next video. Woo!